to tie this into the Showtime guy that said, look, it's the biggest draw, and he's done a $1.3 billion in revenue. For Mr. Promotion, he did nothing but de-promote himself. Floyd called himself slow. He said he's not what he used to be 20 years ago. He said he doesn't have the same combinations. And I can get where he would try to take pressure off it in Floyd's mind. And Floyd's a dum-dum, but he always thinks he's smarter than us. That's one of the biggest mistakes that any entertainer can do. When you're hoping no one's looking at this hand so that you can do things with this hand, you can't outsmart the audience, especially when you're a dum-dum. Especially when you're struggling to put a sentence together. Just leave the thinking to somebody else. Hire new writers. Consult somebody for your script, Floyd. Because I got what he was doing, trying to make us all think, oh, we need to see something here. Floyd, we don't. You need to get on board right now. We're well aware that you're going to whip Conor's butt. We're well aware of that. At least the concept that you should. You're not in touch with the fact that we don't care. In every fight you've ever had, Floyd, it was always important that you fooled us or convinced us that perhaps you would go down. You then do your antics, you make people hate you, and you make people tune in so that maybe they can see you have to eat your own words and go down. We get it. A very simple recipe. You didn't create it. It's been around forever. But don't try to outsmart us. We don't like that. We understand that you are 49-0. We understand that you have 5 world championships in 2 different weight classes. We understand that you have never been beaten since your amateur days in the Olympic Games. We don't care. We're not watching this fight to see who's going to win. We're watching this fight to see what's going to happen. So go out on the stage and tell everybody, like your old man does. Floyd's old man doesn't sell anything. He broke into a press conference and started yelling at Conor. And it was his shoot. He's not smart enough to do a work and try to fool us, I assure you. He broke in and he told Conor, you never boxed before. My son's going to kill you. I'll beat you. He told him that. Said, I'll beat you. I want to fight you next. I'll fight you right now. I don't know if you guys saw that part of the press. It was actually really good. It was in a back room, and this was more of a Q&A, and Conor was more at home, and it was just him on the stage. He kind of do whatever he wanted. Old man Mayweather broke in and was mad, trying to convince Conor. Conor handled it well. He says, Senior, you're a good man. And he was saying, yeah, you're defending your son. You're a good man. And he dismissed him. And old man Mayweather said, I'll come fight you right now. And Conor said, well, how much money you got in your pocket? Which was a great response. The whole thing was great. But now Conor's in his element. He's behind a table. It's a Q&A. He's got a few pocketed quips here and there. But on the stage, Mayweather decided it was a good idea to demote himself. And he's been on this bandwagon for a while. Before he ever got this fight, he was going on boxing shows trying to convince the boxing community how good Conor's hands are and how fast they are. And that he struggles with southpaw. He was trying to convince people that it was going to be a good fight. Floyd, we get it. What you don't get is we don't care. So stop. Go fan some money at some people and say you're going to whip the guy. Let him flash a fancy watch in front of people and he's going to say he's going to whip you. Call it straight from here on out. The truth is always on your side. If there's something to hype it. If there's a personal beef, let it be known. If there's not and it's a cash grab, that's okay too. Contrary to popular belief, that is okay too. And where things sit between Floyd and Conor right now, they don't have any animosity towards each other. They're partners. They are now business partners. They like one another. Conor wants Floyd's fans plus some to tune in, and Floyd wants Conor's fans plus some to tune in. That's not always going to be true. When you start going through these press conferences and you start attacking a guy, and then all of a sudden you're out of bullets and you're in a new city and you got a new press conference and you don't want to use old material, so you start attacking him in a different direction. And all of a sudden he's out of bullets. He already used everything up yesterday, so now he's got to go in a new direction. Before you know it, one of them goes personal. One of them brings in their family. One of them says something that the other one says, hey, wait a minute. You cross the line. Before you know it, they're not going to like each other. I assure you, before that fight goes off on August 26th, they're not going to like each other. Great, even better. But you don't have to manufacture it now. And don't try to fool any of us right now. That's going to piss us off. And when Floyd's walking around saying, I'm not what I was 20 years ago, he's not very smart. Don't get tied in to try to break down the things he says. I get that they're dumb things to say. But then when he starts trying to say, I'm slow and my combinations are bad and blah, 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 as a way to make you think, oh, wow, maybe Conor really can beat this guy. This isn't that kind of event. It's not that kind of event. Okay? Floyd is taking all the risk. He is carrying boxing on his shoulders. Conor is taking no risk in that regard. He's taking all the risk in showing courage and stepping into something that isn't what he does. But this is what it is. Don't try to change it from there. Floyd, yes, you have the reputation of boxing on your shoulders. No, Conor doesn't have anything on his. Don't try to change it. Just wear it. Wear the pressure. Man, I'm loaded up here. I'm loaded up here with pressure. I can't imagine this guy beating me. He's never done it before. He's never been hit with it by anybody like me. He's never put these gloves on before. He's never been in a ring as opposed to a cage. I can't imagine how he's got any shot. I don't know how the odds went from 25-1 me favorite to me now only being a 7-1 favorite. Actually, 650-1. It's closing. It's going to be, guys, they're going to be 3-1 before this thing's done. Floyd, it's okay to tell the truth. It's okay to say this guy doesn't belong in here. It's okay to say I'm going to represent boxing. Conor did. Conor came out and said, I'd take this guy in. See, here's what nobody's considering. I love that Conor brought it up. Nobody is even contesting if we flipped roles. If Floyd was to come over to MMA, the quick and decisive ass kicking that he would take, nobody's even contesting that. I've been surprised at how many people are contesting what happens if Conor goes over there. We've seen guys come from boxing to MMA. James Toney did it. Most recent example. Didn't go well. We should be talking about the same thing. We're just reversing roles. But for some reason, it's not working that way. For some reason, people aren't respecting boxing. What boxing hasn't caught on to is they don't have a community. Oscar De La Hoya keeps talking about the boxing community. Jim Lampley keeps talking about the boxing community. There is no community. I go outside into the streets of Portland, throw a rock, and win it any which direction. I'm not going to hit anybody that's part of this community. There's just fight fans. There's just people that care about big fights, that like the anticipation. They like the buildup. Dana White will tell you this fight is on August 26th. ESPN will tell you it started yesterday. Okay? They're both right. But ESPN's right too. It's on. It's on right now. One person can control that stage. You want to know something that happened to Conor? This wasn't fair. This was not fair. I want to defend Conor on this, and I want you guys to back me up. Conor had a really great line, and some people, these scumbags, tried to come out and call him a racist. This was not fair. So Floyd came over to Conor's side of the stage. This is at the very end of this thing. And Floyd starts shadowboxing. He starts moving around, he's shadowboxing in front of Conor. It was kind of a weird thing Floyd was doing. He was just throwing ones, and they were about 60% speed. He wasn't even throwing some fast combinations to bring the crowd to their feet. It was just kind of a weird thing. He was moving around. He was just like throwing these jabs out. So what's Conor get? Conor's just sitting there in front watching him punch at nothing. There was really nothing happening. So Conor comes out, and he said, yeah, dance for me, Floyd. And people came out and said that he said, dance for me, boy. Now, he may have, my ears thought he said, dance for me, Floyd. Other people came out and said he said, dance for me, boy. Either way, really, you're going to call Conor one of the worst names in the world, a racist? Oh, come on. First, I don't think you guys are right. That's my own opinion. I really thought he said, dance for me, Floyd. And I thought he said Floyd real fast. Floyd. Other people said he said dance for me, boy. Either way, come on, man. Call him a racist. That's a jerk move. That's a jerk move by the website that picked that up. And I'm not even going to mention their name. They don't deserve it. Those guys were up there having fun with one another. Connor did the best he could in the situation. And Floyd wasn't up.